As it is written in the book of the words of Isaiah the prophet, saying, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low. And the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways shall be made smooth. And all flesh shall see the salvation of God. Luke chapter 3, verses 4 through 6. The wilderness is the perfect place to be purged from society's way of thinking, way of living, and understanding. When released, you will create a new way of life, not only for yourself, but for those around you. The wilderness is where you find safety, truth, and power. And the only way to make it out is by following the path God leads you. The path that will lead you to exactly who you were created to be, not the person who someone told you to be. The wilderness is where you develop your own personal relationship with the Most High. You find out your gifts, your strengths, and the power that was freely given to you before you were even a thought in your mother's mind. You find that throughout your daily life, God is with you through it all. You are never spiritually alone. You learn that your struggles aren't meant to tear you down, but to build you up. God enjoys spending alone time with us, in the quiet, away from the noise, because you can hear him more clearly. Don't run from the wilderness. Don't run from the unknown. Abraham's maid Hagar, who was cast out into the wilderness of Beersheba, had her own personal experience. She was distraught for her son and didn't want to see him die due to lack of sustenance. God heard her, and the angel of the Lord appeared. Not only did he lead her to a well for water, but also made a covenant regarding her son, letting her know that a great nation will be made through him. He was Abraham's son, right? God remained with him, and he grew and lived in the wilderness of Paran. Moses escaped from Egypt for multiple reasons, very, very good reasons. But where did he escape to? Unknown territory. He fled to Midian, a desert region between Sinai and the Arabian desert, and found safety with the priest of Midian, and married someone whose background wasn't exactly the same as his. He spoke to a burning bush and made his own covenant with the Lord. God told him exactly who he was and the work to be done through him. This work would lead thousands of people out of bondage. God proved himself to Moses to establish a real and genuine personal relationship with him. David went from wilderness to escape from Saul, but God, being God, kept him from death. God revealed to him his plans for him and informed him that he would be king and his tabernacle would be established through him. David learned about the power of God and the completion of his promises. He learned that God corrects his children when they fall short, but it doesn't mean that he has thrown us away. He learned that who God has anointed, no man should touch. Most importantly, he learned to hearken to the voice of God over the voice of man. Jesus, even Jesus, he went into the wilderness preparing for his teachings that would reach the edges of the world. This time was meant for him and his Father. Who knows what was shared between the two? But what we do know is that when he was confronted by his longtime adversary, it didn't faze him one bit. Jesus knew exactly who he was and who his Father was. He didn't need to prove something to someone who knew the same. As you can see, through these stories and several others, God's people must encounter the wilderness. It's not just for the sake of escaping or being forced out. It's also there for you to find hope, faith, direction, and most importantly, truth. We are all predestined for something, and the only way to find out what it is to escape from everything we know and spend time with ourselves and God. Turn away from the chaos, silence the noise, and enter the wilderness.